And now, the Crypt Keeper of Creepy, the provocative prince of the tweens, the nightmare from Neptune. It's Zabujard!
Hey guys, I'm Jer on the road here. I got one message I need to tell you guys real quick, and it's kind of an important one, so listen up. But this message kind of only applies to artistic type people, or whatever type artistic person you are. But specifically, this is kind of more geared towards artists. Now, if you're an artist, then there's a message that you need to hear right now. And that message is one that I often forget sometimes. And that message is this. It's actually very simple. Actually, this is the entire message in 4 words. Never stop making art. Ever. Ever. Even if you're lazy, even if you're crazy, even if you're Patrick Swayze, it doesn't matter. Because if you know in your blood and your balls that you're an artist type person, which I know I am, if you don't know what you are, well then you better figure it out. But if you know you're a type of person, then you need to do that thing every day. So, if you're an artist type person, never forget to never stop making art stuff. Now, some of you aren't quite getting the message. Some of you can't quite hear what I'm saying. It's not getting through your thick dick and your thick skull. So, never stop making art! Whew. Never stop! Never forget! 9/11, never forget and never remember, but mostly never forget. If you're an artist, then stick to your guns. And keep on doing what you're doing. If you're a programmer like Jan, well then maybe every day you should be gramming, is the slang that he uses and most programmers use. Today I'm gramming, guys, and people say, what's that? It means program. It's a slang. That's real. You can look that up. So that's really all I had to say about that. And just got to go back to work tonight, and then I'm off again for 5 more days. Thank Hashem. Thank goodness. And the night went by okay. It went by fine. Another safe night, thanks to Hashem's blessing. The Shekinah, given to Moses, given as a covenant to the people in this realm, as a meaning of saying that God is always with us. The rainbow, if you will, of the Old Testament. Wait, the rainbow was in the Old Testament. You get what I'm saying? The Shekinah is the rainbow. It's God's covenant to his people that God gave his feminine side, his feminine half, to his people, which is us. Or whoever prays to God. I don't know. And to Israel, basically, okay? But Jew is a spiritual term. Israel is a spiritual group of people. You and me, we're spiritual Jews, or we're spiritual people, whatever. He gave us the Shekinah. Today's the Sabbath. On the Sabbath, the Shekinah blesses all of us more than usual, which is a good thing, because I think most of us need it. So thank God, TGIF, thank God it's Friday, but also TGIS, thank God it's the Sabbath. TGITS, I should say. So, and you know, I've never really said the Shema ever out loud or internally. The Shema is a prayer that Jewish people do 3 times a day. When you wake up and right before you go to bed. And maybe at sundown or something like that. And basically it's like a special prayer. So, maybe today's the day we'll try it out. It's not a super long prayer, but it might be a little long. And, I actually haven't tried saying it yet. So it's been on my to-do list to say the Shema, but I still haven't gotten around to it. Because I want to follow the rules, and the rules are, you're supposed to do it when you wake up, which I always forget. And you're supposed to do it before you go to bed, and I always kind of forget that too, because I'm sleepy when I go to bed or something. I don't know. So, I don't want to mess it up, I want to get the tradition correct. If I'm going to do the tradition well, I want to do it at least correct for the first time, you know what I mean? It's just a pet peeve I have. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. And, I'm glad that the work night is over. I'm getting wrinkles from this job, dude. Or just from my neurotic, messy lifestyle. Being in my 30s and still not cooking a meal and eating chicken wings and frozen pizzas from the store. My legs hurt, my balls hurt, probably testicular cancer, probably leg cancer, probably whatever, sir. And look, I'm a Pisces, I'm not even a Cancer sign. So I don't even know why someone would get cancer, because that's a sign. And, yeah. But every day's a new day. So every day is a new day. So today, you gotta try your best not to, sin and stuff. And, you gotta try your best to, I know a lot of you guys don't pray, so maybe just try praying or something. I don't think it's hard at all. I think it's pretty easy to do. Then again, it's been taking over a lot of my thoughts, so I don't really have any quiet time for my own. My brain is always talking. It's not silent, but it's not silent but violent, or silent but deadly. So, might be nice for once in a while to have a silent brain. Honestly,
I'm being eaten alive.
Something to try out for me.
In this realm by invisible, tangible creatures. Creators. Creatures. Creatures. I just had my lunch. I just got to work an hour ago. And I eat my lunch when I get to work instead of waiting until my lunch break. Because we don't have a refrigerator. And also I usually wait till nighttime to start eating my first meals. Or at least a decent sized meal. But I was hungry. But I probably won't eat the rest of the night in the next 7 hours. Yeah. 7? Yep, 7 hours, damn. There's a belief in Kabbalah Judaism that people are reincarnated, in case you didn't know. Which is what I've been into lately, and that's not good. That's not good for me. Because number one, I don't want to go to hell, which I would hope that, God wouldn't let us go to hell. Number two, I don't want to be reincarnated as a rock for 500 years. There's an old story about two rabbis who were walking down a trail. This is a real story. And the old rabbi kicks a stone, and the other guy says, "Hey, why'd you kick that stone?" And the guy says, "That wasn't a stone. There was a person inside of that stone that has been stuck inside of that stone for 500 years because he reincarnated into that stone because he did something pretty bad in his last life to be reincarnated back into a stone." That's the end of the story. I'm not making that up. That's a real story. But I do make up a lot of stuff and stories in these podcasts, but I can assure you that one was actually true. Point of the story is, there's one more story I can tell that's a true story. There's a rabbi walking in Tel Aviv in 1950. It's old downtown Israel, okay? And a donkey comes up to him, and the rabbi says, "Go away, donkey." The donkey keeps coming and keeps coming after him and keeps walking up to him. And the man says, "I don't want to deal with you right now. Go away, donkey." The donkey keeps coming back. And the rabbi says to the donkey, "Look, it's not my fault you're a donkey." I can't remember what the punchline is, actually, but it's something along those lines. "It's not my fault you reincarnated as a donkey." I can't remember the punchline. But basically, yeah, I can't remember, actually. Anyways, point being, this realm sucks. I'm self-conscious about sins, my thoughts, going to hell, being reincarnated as a stone. All of these spooky things that go along with this realm. Too many spooky things. My mind is never quiet. Because in my mind, I'm usually talking to the Lord. But usually it's just about apologizing for things that I'm doing throughout the day, throughout the week. Or thanking Hashem for things that I'm doing currently. If I'm taking a shower, I'm thanking God in my head. If I'm lying in bed, I'm thanking God for my bed. If I'm driving my car, I'm praying to God for safety. My head is never quiet. It's always talking. It's annoying. It's too much talking. It's too many things. I like the easiness of the New Testament. I like the chillness of it. It's more chill than the Old Testament. It's more relaxed. Jesus Christ seems very relaxed in the New Testament, okay? That doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't mean it's a text appealing to the Romans. So many people think that the New Testament was written to appease the Romans. If you don't know what I mean by that, I refuse to elaborate. My legs were hurting. I think it's the combination of soda pop, barely exercising or moving my legs, or getting out of my chair. I think those two combination of things destroying what's left of my skeleton. My workplace, I'm at a hotel. Bad news is they opened up another building here, which means I need to patrol more areas where sneaky vermins and vagabond homeless creatures can dig and hide in and do their heroin shots. And they can hide away and cause trouble and riffraff. Good news is the new building has a pool and a jacuzzi. and a shower. So if I was feeling like a hard ass or even a bad ass, I could use the pool at the hotel. Bad news about that is if I got caught using my work's pool, I'd probably get fired. Good news about that is I'd lose a job. Bad news is I don't know how I'd pay my rent. Having a job for even 2 days a week still makes me wish I was 0 days a week and laying in bed trying to nap with the roof over my head instead of at work. I really gotta stop complaining all the time, but it'd just be cool if I could get those 2 days a week down to 1 or 0 days a week of work, you know? I figured out the least possible amount of days to work at a job in security, and it's usually 2 days. Unless you have a bunch of coworkers, but in my expertise in this field for a long time, you don't. They're barely scraping by with the amount of workers they have at a lot of these jobs who do security. So getting less than 2 days a week at these jobs, I've tried in the past, it is a little tricky to get you less than 2 days. That's because normie full-time wage slave cucks are always begging for hard cock and 40-hour work weeks from their jobs. Please give me more hours to work, big boss. Let me suck on your big boss balls. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, hey boss, you got tiny balls, can I work less hours a week? Big boss man says, try to make me go to rehab, and I said no. This, the boss ain't having it. He ain't having it. So, there you go. If I could find a gal, I got space in my room. I could easily have a girl move into my room. I'd give her a desk and a chair, and that's pretty much all they need. From what I've heard about girls, I'm pretty sure all they need is a desk and a chair and they're good to go. Maybe a dresser for their stupid pink clothes that they wear. But I can't even manage to find a girl to ask if they want to move into my medium-sized room. I could pay for their rent. I could pay for their Lent. I could pay for their tent if I put up a tent for them. They could sleep in my queen-sized bed, which is not made. That would be their job. They'd have to make my bed. Because I have a gay job 2 days a week. I can't make my bed. Are you kidding me? If I had a girlfriend who I convinced to move in, live inside of my room, I would make them. I would ask them if they want to make the bed. If they don't want to, then you're going to have to deal with an unmade bed, which is what it is right now. The tricky part is finding a woman. The second tricky part is getting her to talk to you. The third tricky part is getting them to fall in love with you. The fourth tricky part is convincing their tiny squirrel-sized brains to move into your stupid room. Rent-free. I could pay their rent. But they're gonna have to do something for me first. But yeah, so it's harder than it sounds to find a partner these days. Very hard, I don't know. It's also hard probably to convince them to move into your little room. Actually, I don't know if even any of that's true. It's just, I don't even know. I don't even know any women. Every woman I've ever met in this realm, every woman I've ever met in this world, every woman I've ever met in this solar system, every woman I've ever met in this galaxy, every woman I've ever met in this universe, every woman I've ever met in this multiverse has always has always, the first thing they've ever said to me, the first time I ever meet a woman or a girl anywhere, on the street, at school, in the playground, on the tire swing, up inside a tree house, at the workplace, at the play place, at the anywhere. The first thing they always say to me is, I say, hey, do you want to move into my stupid room? I pay for your rent, idiot. Actually, I don't even say idiot. I just say, I can pay for your rent if you want, dumbass. No, I don't even say that. I say, hey, if you want a place to stay, I know a place. Oh yeah, it's my little room. And they look me up and down. They scan my body up and down and my face. And they look, and their eyes bulge, and they look up in my eyes, and they look me straight in the eyes. And any woman I've ever met, they always look me. The first thing they say to me, look them straight in the eye. They say, how many cartoons did you make today? And I say, well, I only made 1 to 4 or 5 cartoons today. And they say, well, my boyfriend Chad Moneybags Thunderdick made me 5 trillion cartoons today. Why didn't you make me any? And I say, oh, but no, I have a job today. I can't. I try to balance my time between napping and fapping and clapping and chapping and tapping and brapping and clapping and slapping. And they say, well, that's not enough cartoons. You need to make 5 trillion cartoons per day. If you want to be my lover, you gotta make me cartoons. Making tunes forever. That's the way it is. That's Spice Gals. That's the band Spice Gals. So, even if I used to have I was ex-married. I used to be married for, about 39 years. And my ex-wife, she dumped me. She took off her wedding ring, and she threw it into a gator's urethra, the hole around their penis. And I said, why did you do that? Why did you divorce me, number 1? And I held up my fingers as I'm doing this. Number 2, I held up my second finger. And why did you throw our wedding ring in your gator's urethra? And number 3, what's going on with you today? You seem so moody. And my ex-wife, God bless her, she looks me in the eye and she says, well, how many cartoons did you make for me today? And I say, I don't know, about 2 billion. And she's like, well, I need about 5 more trillion if I'm going to be a satisfied wife. And she says, and second of all, that's not even a croc. That's not even a croc. That's a gator. And now I'm going to say to you, you know what I'm going to say? And I said, what? And she said, see you later, alligator. She divorced me right there in court. Threw my ring in a gator's urethra. And I haven't heard from her ever again. And that you can listen to that with sad music behind it, because all of that was true-ish. True-ish. So, I've got it all. I have a room that a woman could stay in if they wanted to. I look great. I have got great set of ribs on my rib cage on me. You're not going to find other boys with ribs like this at this old age. Most of them get beer guts by now. I have a full head of hair, dazzling voice, shimmering cheeks, charming allure, personality, humbleness, humility, tranquility, senility, vitality, fruitility, all of that stuff. But you know what I don't have? That's right. It's not even a girlfriend. Not even really a friend in my town. I don't really got friends in my town. There's a guy in my town I could ask if he wants to hang out. I don't know what we'd do. He's a Christian guy at church. He was a nice guy, and we talked about anime a few times. His favorite anime is it was a stupid gay one. It was like One Piece or something. So, but I've been in this town for 2 years and I've never really texted him. So I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. It's hard to get things to change. I know some people out there, I feel like this way. My life is stuck and glued down to the pavement like it's glued down with super glue or wet cement or rubber. And you can pull at it, you can kick at it, spit at it, shat all over it. But you can't seem to pull that gooey, cummy, funny, gummy, gooey, sticky, messy life situation off of that cold, hard ground that it's glued down to. I want to make a change. I want to do something different. I want to be a little different. And you're stuck. You're glued down. You can't move a muscle. You're paralyzed. You're catechized. You're sterilized. You're niggerized. You know, you're fertilized. You know, you try to move. I'm going to become a gym rat. I'm going to start working at the gym. I'm going to get a job slob. I'm going to go on Tinder. I'm going to go on Binder. I'm going to go on Hinder. I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to work my way up the ladder. I'm going to do this and that and that and this. And these and those and that and these. But at the end of the day, my life is the same as it was, I don't know, 12 years ago. Pretty much, it's pretty much the same since I've graduated high school. I just hang out and make cartoons, single, not a lot of mingle, and yeah. So, like I said, I don't get women. I don't understand them. I don't know them. Even when I ask girls out and I say hi to them, the first thing they say is they look inside of my pants pocket. They look in my throat hole. And they look in my eyes and they say, "Shouldn't you be making cartoons right now? Don't you think that's something you should be doing?" And they're right. The disgusting thing about that is they're actually right. When I was a baby, I was somewhere between 2 and 15 years old. I met this famous Italian director, Anna Scarzicovi. Many of you know him from his work on famous Disney Pixar films like Blinko, Jinko's Cavern, Finding Dumbledore, Big Wigs, Big Circus, and Penis Friends, Big Dummy Douche Fuck, and Finding Nemo 3, Dory's Orgasm, aka Dory's Dorgasm, and Toy Story 5, Sex Toy, and Finding Chinko, Finding Glinko, and Toy Story 3, Tokyo Drift, Off to Sleep. Other famous films he's worked on: Dinky's Cavern, Binky's Cave, One Night at Riff Raff's, and then A Thrilling Morning at a Breakfast at Tiffany's. Kind of a long name on that one. And I met this man on the red carpet of his new debut film, Pee-wee's Big Penis 3. And I shook his hand and I spat on his hand. He's an Italian man. He's got hairy, nasty, wet, sweaty hands. There's hair that grows on his tongue and on his eyeballs. Common for Italians to grow hair. And I say, "Look, Mr. Scarzicovi, over here, I have a microphone. Mr. Scarzicovi." He comes over to me. He waddles his fat Italian ass over to me. It's disgusting. And I say, he looks me up and down in my eyes. And I say, "Look, Mr. CZ, can I call you that?" He says, "Yes." "Mr. Scars, can I ask you one question?" He says, "Yes." I say, "You've seen it all, you've done it all, you've made 1,000 movies, you've seen 1,000 movies. What's your number one most recommended favorite romance movie of all time?" And he looks me in the eyes and he says, "Well, you know I've made many movies." And I said, "Yes." And he says, "I made a movie about the meatball, the marinara, the pasta cheese and the sauce and the meatballs and the dinky dork and the blinky's cavern and the chinky's cave. I say, yes, I'm familiar with your works. And he says, well, my favorite romantic movie of all time. And he looks up in the sky. And he says, it's my favorite scene, my favorite movie is when the Mickey kisses a Minnie. I wonder if Jan is gonna remember that reference. I hope he does. I'm getting eaten alive out here. My bones are withering. They're crumbling into graveyard dirt and dust and maggot food and flesh. Sometimes when I walk around by the dumpsters, I see a bunch of maggots, not magnets, maggots, and they look at me like they want a piece of my ass. And they're licking their lips and they're licking their teeth the way reptiles do. Making some of those noises with their mouth. Saying things like, me hungry, me maggot, me hungry. And maggots are lipping their licks at me. And I know they want a taste of what I've got. I'm getting catcalled by maggots and flies. Because my life's a mess, my room's a mess, my boom's a dress, my groom's a chest, all that stuff. It's messy. It's a mess. I don't think I'm rock bottom, but certainly I can probably see rock bottom from where I'm standing at, where I'm floating at, and I can think to myself, well, at least I'm not down there. But then the people at rock bottom are looking up at me and they're like, well, you're pretty close. I'd say you're not within arm's reach. I'd say I'm 50 feet from rock bottom. Maybe 60 or 70 feet. Point is, I don't know if that's true. I think I've come a small way over the last year. Once you hit 30, you really try to purify your balls. But it's hard. It's very hard. It's hard stuff. But there's rules to this place. There's rules we must follow. Why else would there be Diarrhea of a Wimpy Kid 3, Roderick Rules? Why would they make that movie if we didn't have rules to follow down in this realm? In this country, there's no country for old men. And we need to don't give up. We can never give up, ever. Ever, ever, ever. When people jumped out of the 911 buildings, I believe it's because there was a DEW energy weapon that was splattered throughout the building. And this cooked people like a microwave does, which is why 200 of them leaped out of the building as soon as possible after the main building was hit by a huge Tesla-coiled, Tesla-themed, Tesla wave energy weapon, directed weapon of Tesla wave energy. And these weapons, if you want to find out more, you're going to have to Google the Huntington effect? Huntington effect? Is it Huntington? Can't remember. These energy beams contort metal in paranormal ways, almost like a ghost is raping a piece of metal. It contorts the metal, it levitates the metal, it destroys the metal, it does whatever it wants. You never know what's going to happen with the Huntington effect. A paranormal energy device that, honestly, I want to build one. It sounds freaking crazy. That's what, I mean, if you think about it, all those people in that building, they're just, the building is smoking, right? But people aren't like, well, I better wait and wait for rescue to come, and they'll come get me out of this building. Instead, what do? Immediately just start jumping. Because when people are hit with microwave beam cannons that the boys in blue use, when you're hit with a microwave beam cannon, you don't think, your body immediately goes into fight or flight and you just run out of the way of the beam. Without thinking, it's just an instinct. It's instinctual when you're hit with a DEW or a microwave cannon to simply, immediately, your body and brain just run like a rat. There's no thinking involved, pure muscle memory running. And that's why they just jumped the hell out of that building ASAP when they were hit by the microwaves, or most likely the Huntington effect beam. The government learned about the Huntington effect in 1983, and we started seeing propaganda about the destruction of the two buildings a little bit after that. I'm curious. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all these things that we're interested in, all these curiosities, fantasies, rabbit holes, funny memes, imagination stories, they're not necessary. I think in this realm, all we're really supposed to do is kind of just study the Word of God and keep the sinning down to a 0% level. But that's pretty hard to do. So instead of studying the Word of God, we'll watch YouTube videos for 20 billion years. Even the idea of breakfast, which was possibly invented to break fast, to break people's fast, to make them gluttonous in the morning so that they break their fast. All these things that are kept in place to keep humanity unholy as possible. Sick, like my body and balls. As I sit in front of a computer screen all day, watching videos and making cartoons. I hope God likes my cartoons. I hope that's what I'm on this world to do. Because it's the only thing I kind of know how to do a little bit. Everything else, I'm a very solitary animal. Solitary human. I don't know what my purpose is. Some people learn their purpose when they're 60 years old and they're taking care of their aged mothers. And then they look in the mirror and they say, oh, it was my purpose to take care of my aged mother. And then Jan passes away right after he realizes that. Oh, he dies and turns into dust. Right when he realizes his true purpose. And, I'm trying to keep the radiation to a minimum, bros. I always have my phone on airplane mode. I'd wreck. I'm gonna wreck it, as Wreck-It Ralph says, short for Recommendation Ralph. When he says his catchphrase, he's saying, I would recommend that. I'm gonna wreck it. Recommendation Ralph 1 and 2 from Disney Pixar Animation Studios. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, at this job, because it's so late in the night and there's not enough eating and drinking, you see a couple of hallucinations out of the corner of your eye, and you can't tell whether it's your eye or your brain or a faulty light bulb that keeps flickering, or if your brain is the one who's flickering your vision in your eyes. Something cool I noticed is that the pixel count of IRL shadows in the real-time, real world of FPS Earth is that real shadows in real life look like the pixelated shadows I see in 3D modeling software Blender. You can almost see the shadows. I was looking at shadows today and I thought that they looked all low poly count and low frame rate. You know, the frame rate of a human eye is about the same as of a cartoon. It's probably like 24 frames per second. And a lot of cartoons are shot in 24 frames per second. It's hard to live this way, and a few other ways probably, and in this realm in general, for some people or even most people, it's hard to live sometimes, or a lot of times. And so why are we living? I don't know. Yeah, ow. Oh, my neck. Ah. I know people like Deutsch Videos or other people have noticed that there's sharp-teethed reptile demon alien creatures that are living amongst us in our very midst. Ow, fuck my neck. People you know or people you don't know are these humanoid demonic alien creatures with very sharp teeth and big bulging eyeballs with black slits for eyes. Where did they come from? Why are they here? What are they doing here? What's going on here? Who are they? What are they? What are they doing? Why are they faking it? Like a woman in heat on her orgasm bed, faking an orgasm like they do in that hit movie, what is it called? Pretty Woman? I'll have what she's having. A big fucking orgasm. I'll have what she's having. It's a great line. There's been a lot of great lines in Jewish media movies. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's Seinfeld during their gay episode, and I do mean that literally when they made an episode about being gay. And every 10 seconds a character says, "Not that there's anything wrong with that." I'm not going to do my Jerry voice. I'm too close to the hotel tenants. I don't want to wake them up, but trust me. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a funny line. But Jerry Seinfeld is a puppet on a string, a creepy creature from another demonic hellish realm from the pit of hell. And how do I know that? Because he sucks Freemason dick and balls. He's Jewish, and I do mean the ish at the end, because these people who claim to be Jays but are ishes, in other words, people who claim to be Jays but do complete evil 24/7, I wouldn't really call them a holy person or even a religious person at all. I'd just call them a evil piece of shit. So, and I do like airline food. I do like his joke. That is a good joke. What is the deal with airline food? I don't know. But the point is, and he's probably an alien demon creature himself. Point is that, what the hell are these creatures in this realm with us right now? With sharp teeth. What are they? Who are they? Why are they here? What's going on? Why are they all shapeshifted? Why do they pretend to be humans? Why don't they show their real form to us? Why is it all these fake forms? Why are they afraid to show their forms? Why is everything in this realm a huge lie? Why did they use giant Tesla microwave Huntington effect weapons to destroy two giant 110-story buildings in downtown Manhattan? All the city names are named after gay, demonic, retarded shit, like California, named after Kali, the Indian god of porn. Fornia, as in fornicate, porn. Why is everything named here retarded and demonic? Why are there literally reptile, sharp-toothed demons among us who pretend to be humans? Why do I have all these questions? Why are there no answers? Furthermore, where was the giant weapon located that turned those buildings into dust? Because they checked the parking garage the next day, and there was nothing in them. There was no weapon inside the basements of the two giant buildings that they took down in 2001. So where did they hide that giant Tesla coil microwave weapon? Where did they hide it? Was it in the sky on a plane? Was it on a satellite floating above on a balloon? Was it on a nearby building that they aimed at the building? Was it underground? Well, like I said, I don't think they saw it in the parking lot, in the underground. Maybe they took it out when people were busy panicking, and then people took the weapons out. Or maybe it's a bunch of smaller, remote, detonated devices that they put all along, so it wasn't like one giant Tesla coil, but it was like a bunch of smaller machines that went off in junction. There was no nuclear energy detected in the vicinity when the buildings were destroyed, number one, and number two, the buildings turned into dust. Number three, no weapons we know of can turn things into dust like that. Number four, it was quiet as a church mouse. When those two buildings fell, it was quiet as a day at church. There was no earthquake, there was no seismic activity like you get at a demolition site. It was as quiet as I'm talking to you right now. Two giant, million-ton, 110-story buildings turn into evaporated dust due to an unknown, possibly Huntington effect Tesla coil microwave beam energy weapon, And it's quiet as a church mouse is complete silence. Imagine seeing a giant 1 billion ton building disappear in front of your eyes with not even so much as a golf clap. I have so many questions. And why do it? Why those two buildings? Why do that? I know people say it's because of symbolic reasons, like to turn the two DNA strands into a one, combining them into one giant mRNA strand of evil serpent gayness, taking the two aspects of the two DNA strands and turning them into one giant strand, which is what they did. They built one tower where the two buildings were. It just seems so showboaty and gloaty and strange. Using a never-before-used weapon of that caliber, so many things could have gone wrong, I would imagine. I just don't get it. I have too many questions about that moment in our history of this fake and gay lie world realm that we're stuck in, that I don't understand. And why are we here? Why... I just have a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. All of us humans, we're all very similar, but at the same time, I don't know anybody else who's like me. I know there's some cartoonists out there, but even among cartoonists, I think my brain's a little bit, well, you know. It's a half moon tonight. I've got a great view of the moon right now. It's orange and yellow moon, and I can only see half of it, which raises even more questions. Why does the moon disappear every night? Why does only half of the moon disappear? Why does it come back? Why can I see stars through the part of the moon that's disappeared? Is the moon just like one big liquid in like a circular petri dish? And the moon collects at different parts of the dish? Sometimes it all collects on the bottom, sometimes the top. And when the petri dish is facing a certain angle, the liquid spreads itself out so we can see the entire moon with liquid. Whereas sometimes the petri dish is located at an angle where it all coruscates at the left part of the dish, the glass dish, so we can only see the liquid but not the glass dish that it's in. Everything in this realm is circular. The moon, the sun, your toes, your fingers, your nose. Why is the word gnosis about people's noses? Why do they think we have intelligence in our noses? Why this universe, in the Jewish Kabbalah, it's called the Simsum, the contraction. When God created this realm, He made a giant realm and then He contracted it into a smaller realm. And everything in this realm breathes and contracts. Which is funny because they say the Big Bang does the opposite, right? It contracts and then it expands forever. That doesn't make any sense. That's gay horse shit. Everything here expands and contracts, okay? Your lungs do that when you breathe. And as we age, we grow taller. And then when we're an old person, we get tiny and small again. We start baby small, adult big, old person back to being pretty small. Much, smaller than we were in our prime. Which for me, let's face it, was probably high school. No. Yeah, maybe, maybe junior high. I don't know. Either way, I don't think it's right now. I don't think I'm in my prime right now. I think I'm in the opposite. I think I'm in the opposite of my prime. I don't know. know. It's hard to be an adult. And a lot of that is due to the constant brainwashing of this dumbed down, baby-loving society that I was born into in the United States, in the city of Los Angeles, aka Fallen Angels, Lost Angels. But I do like that Red Hot Chili Peppers song though. City I live in, the city of angels. All of the niggers are fucked dumb and dirt. Got the gay AIDS and I'm gonna spread it. I wanted some lemonade, but instead I drawed AIDS. Get it? Lemonades. I'm gonna make that into a cartoon, by the way, probably sometime. Sometimes I feel like a fucking gay nigger. I got a bug and I'm gonna fart. Just shat my pants and I'm losing out jizz gum. Slurping a big girl and fucking a dirt. I don't ever wanna fuck like I'm fucking gay. Take me to the place I come. Suck me all the way. I don't ever wanna part on George Floyd's big face. Suck him on the dick, I'm fine. 9/11's gay. Yeah. Oh yeah, you get it. Yeah, it's take me to the place I love. That's when the choir comes in of the youngsters who sing the choir part, if you remember. It's an old song. You guys know the song. But, I mean, even Red Hot Chili Peppers' logo is like a Jesuit cross. So even they're like fucking, they're underground drinking youngster blood 24/7 too. None of these famous people, even though they make good music, or catchy music, I should say, all their music in this realm is used to put spells on people and cause them to be unholy fags and stuff. I mean, you can even tell because the Red Hot Chili Peppers logo is like this evil Jesuit cross thing. And so even them probably have jagged, crooked teeth and they're biting into humane flesh every night. It's I mean, I could go anywhere and be homeless. I could go to Australia, Germany, and just say, hey, I'm a refugee from Los Angeles because there's too many people in my country now who have backs that's covered in liquid. And they say, oh, that's terrible. Welcome to Germany. Welcome to Disneyland. To me, I've been up and down on this roller coaster of if the world's gonna end or not. But right now, I kind of feel like it will. But tomorrow, I might feel like it will. But to a lesser extent. Part of me believing that the world is so close to ending, I think, is subconsciously I want this world to end. Because my life is just kind of a mess. And because my life is kind of a mess, I don't really see it going anywhere. And because I don't see it going anywhere, I see the world ending just to get out of the situation that I'm in. So me believing that the world's going to end is probably a subconscious reflection of how my life is a mess and it's hard to fix it. And so I just imagine it'll end just as a cop-out for me to fix my life by destroying it by the world being destroyed. Which I think makes sense in your head, because I think I explained it okay. is the least I've worked at this job so far. I haven't been walking around very much today. I was really tired, I think. I mean, it's a night job, what do you expect, but I was really freaking tired. I'm putting a glove on to hold the phone. I don't like holding phones without gloves because radiation can get into your you know. And I have the phone on airplane mode, but still, I'm just put a glove on. So, and it's a thick glove. It's leather. It's a leather glove. I'm tired. I was in the bathroom in the pitch black darkness, sitting without music on, trying to get some snooze in, trying to get some sort of naps in, or anything like that. I try to nap here at the job, but it's pretty impossible because when you're at a job, you're just too on edge to fall asleep most of the time. Also, it's very bright here. Even with my sunglasses on, they don't block out nearly enough light, barely any light from these bright-ass street lamps that are everywhere in this area. So, number one, I'm too on edge to fall asleep. Number two, it's too bright. Number three, it's too awkward and uncomfortable-ish. Number four, I have to work, kind of, so because I'm at the job. Number five, that's enough reasons. So, animals are perfect, but humans are not animals. Animals can't understand the Tanakh, which I think means the Torah. It's another word for it, Tanakh. They can't understand the Tanakh. Humans can, ish. And so humans are supposed to learn it. People who are spiritually insensitive to anything spiritual, who don't care about any sort of connection to anything spiritual or God or anything like that, they in Judaism are seen as dead, basically as dead, walking corpses, So this would be like atheists, or something like that. They're basically considered already dead. You might be thinking, Jer, if animals are perfect, why aren't secular, non-spiritual humans perfect? Because, well, humans can sin, first of all. It's in our DNA to be able to sin and to have sin, and our DNA is already cursed by sin and stuff like that. Judaism does smile upon people who are good people and who do good deeds, and it says that they're going to be fine, I think. But that, whereas Christianity would say those people are going to burn in hell forever. Unless you're thinking more about the Catholic approach. Catholics and Jewish people have more in common because they have more of a big focus on good deeds. And then deep Judaism believes in reincarnation based on good deeds and things like that. And that you can be reincarnated as a donkey or a stone for 500 years stuck in the body of a rock or stone, things like that. But I don't think they teach that on the surface level Judaism, basically. But the deeper parts of it teach that stuff. In the Kabbalah, for example. And so basically, it's interesting. If you're a good person and you're just going about your way, it's not necessary for you to learn the Tanakh or the Torah or anything like that. kind of. I think it's probably recommended, but maybe not particularly necessary. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm going by feel here. Whereas, like I said earlier, in Christianity, if you don't follow the specific book or the specific religion, then or the specific God figure of Jesus, then you go to hell. Unless you're a child, maybe. I think there's rules in the New Testament about not knowing what sin is until you're of teenage years, basically. Some kind of loopholes in there about not going to hell as a child or something like that. Here's the interesting thing about the Torah is that, as you guys have probably noticed, the most evil, wicked people in this entire realm study the Kabbalah and Judaism and the Talmud, and they wear red bracelets, which shows that they study Kabbalah. This would be people like Madonna, Tucker Carlson, tons of celebrities. There's pictures of them with these red Kabbalah bracelets on, showing their allegiance to Freemasonry and Kabbalah and things like that. The Kabbalah can be used for, I think, good or evil, and specifically the Talmud can be used for good or evil, whereas I want to say the Torah can only be used for good. I would think. Don't quote me on that. But the Talmud can be used for good or evil. It's a powerful book, and the people like Madonna and probably maybe Tucker Carlson, just because he's super rich, and I always think that they're plants and just there to lead people astray and stuff like that. But definitely Madonna, right? She loves the Jewish Kabbalah, and she's as evil and wicked as it gets, right? What she's doing is she's using the Kabbalah for black magic purposes. She's using the backside of the Tree of Life, and she's using the Talmud in the way where she is. You can use the Talmud in two ways. You can use it to like empower goodness, or you can use it to empower Lil, Lilith. And she's definitely using it to empower Lil, which is the evil of this realm, basically. She's using the Talmud to and the Kabbalah for the evil black magic purposes. Where I said, I think maybe you can use it for good to worship God, or you can use it for bad to bring in as much evil as possible. So this is very interesting stuff here. So, you see these super evil, wicked people who the New Testament says, which I like this verse, obviously, that they will claim to be JEWS's, but are of the synagogue of Satan, or Shaitan, right? As it's pronounced in Hebrew. The subject of Shaitan is also very complicated. Like I said before, in Christianity it's more of a figure person, or Lucifer, or the leader of the fallen angel, stuff like that. In Kabbalah, Shaitan is more like the 7 serpent forms that are within you, or something like that. It's very complicated. I don't really know how to explain it very well. Basically, in Christianity, people will probably use Satan as an excuse for their sins, like, oh, I'm being tempted by Satan, he's causing me to do all these sins. Whereas in Judaism, it's not like that. There's no one to blame but yourself, basically, in these temptation situations. So in Christianity, he's more of a scapegoat for one's sins, like, oh, I was caused to sin by the accuser. in Judaism, I don't think it's like that. I think it's more, you're more responsible for giving into your own temptations in that sort of way. So a lot of Christian podcasts I listen to, they will automatically call the Kabbalah evil, the Talmud evil, these Jewish books evil and stuff. They'll say, I listened to one guy, and yesterday I was listening to his new podcast, and he said, he's a British guy, the only purpose of the Old Testament was to show the genealogy of the biblical figures to prove that Jesus is God. And immediately I'm like, how can you say that's the only purpose of the Old Testament? Was just to show the genealogy, the different ages that line up to your New Testament book that proves that Jesus was 33 and 0 years old, and the other people in the apostles also are who they said they are, even though at the end of all their books, all they did was like sign their name. Anyone could have done that. I could have written Thomas at the end of my book. It doesn't mean that I wrote the book and that my name is actually Thomas. Some people think Paul wrote most of the New Testament to appease the Romans. It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is that gave me the creeps to hear that the Old Testament was only purpose was for that, because it's so much more than that. Anyways, they're completely discounting the importance of God's word here in the Old Testament and what it means. And a lot of Christians do this. They'll read their Bibles, but they won't care about the Old Testament. They only care about the New Testament. They only care about the Jesus Christ stuff, and that's it. Which I don't think that's right. I think you should read the Old Testament stuff too, and to learn Hebrew, because that's what God wrote the book in, and what He created this world that we're in right now. What could be more important than learning the original language of this world, of this realm? Anyways, I mean, just doing that in itself would bring you closer to God if you spoke the same language that He created, you know? Or, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I've barely been patrolling at all tonight, and, I probably should frickin' patrol. Like, I don't want to get fired. I can't get fired because I gotta pay the rent somehow. I really don't want to work. I really don't want a job. I would rather be in my bed, taking a nap right now. I can't take a nap in this public bathroom. It's just too uncomfortable. The toilet, sitting on the toilet for hours is so uncomfortable on your ass, on your legs, on your back. It's just uncomfortable as hell. Yeah. That's it. You know, it seems like it's kind of hard to find Jewishy podcasts out there. I can find a billion Christian ones, but I haven't really found very many Jewishy ones. So that might mean mine is the coolest one out there that deals with this subject matter. You know, maybe probably the spiciest one. But I think if actual Jews actually found my podcast and listened to what I'm saying, they might think it's insane. But yeah, it's whatever. So the reason why, and the Torah can't stand academic evil Torah scholars, like scholars who study the Talmud for kind of like atheistic, really, I don't know how to even approach this subject. I'm going to skip this one. The way some people use the Talmud for evil is that they don't. The reason why people die, even if they're studying the Torah, is because sometimes they credit their own achievements through their own understandings, through their own accomplishments, that they attribute to themselves and their own wisdom and their own brains, instead of attributing it to the center of all knowledge, to Hashem or the Tanakh, where they got the knowledge from. They'll come up with a revelation in their head, in their mind, when they're reading this stuff, which is fine. But they won't give credit where credit is due, and this leads to bad vibes. Speaking of that, according to the Zohar, having new revelations about each word, about each sentence, each phrase in the Tanakh, the Torah, creates firmaments, which reminds you of the firmament around the planet, right? Or the realm. But it creates firmaments where these specific Hebrew words, through these specific revelations that you have, or a new person has, or a new revelation that occurs through studying the Tanakh, the words from that revelation go through all 70,000 worlds and reach the holiest of holy places in Kether, and then go even above that to like a realm, like the godly realm of like mystery and holiness. These revelations people have, new revelations through studying the Torah, which has been around for a long time, literally create firmaments. What that means, I don't exactly know. But the cool thing is, like I said earlier, those words go up through all 70,000 worlds. The Kabbalah says there's 70,000 worlds, right? And it goes through all of them, and it's lifted up to like the highest place in Kether, the top of the tree of life, through new revelations, new ideas, new thoughts brought about by studying this stuff. I told you guys, this is freaking wild. Nobody believes me, but this is the most wildest sci-fi lore that anyone has ever come up with, ever. You're not going to get this from the New Testament. You might, actually, but it's hard. You'd probably have to buy a book from... I mean, think about how many New Testament Kabbalists there are. You could probably name them all on one hand. There's probably... I can't even think of one. Because nobody's put in the effort. Because the only people who want to put in the effort are Jewish people, because they like the Old Testament so much, and they use the connections through the Hebrew gematria to the terms in the Zohar and stuff like that. Like, I would be all for Christian Kabbalists, but it's very rare to even find that. And everybody's too lazy to do that. I haven't done that. Nobody I know has done that. If you want to do that, go ahead. I think that's brand new frontier for anyone, for pioneers in that area, because it's very undiscovered. It's very pioneer work, pioneer groundwork. How would you go about doing that? You'd have to connect the Kabbalistic tree of life to New Testament ideas. Where do the three where does the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit fit into the tree of life? How does the Trinity fit into the tree of life? How does it fit into the Hebrew letters? How does it fit into all this stuff? Who's doing that? Who's connecting the Hebrew Kabbalistic stuff to the New Testament? How many people are even doing that? How many people even want to do that? Maybe people did that like 5 or 1200 years ago, maybe, but who's doing it right now? I don't know anybody who's doing that. Do you? I didn't think so. If you really like the New Testament, then go for it. Because you might as well. You might as well do that. It's dangerous. From what I've heard, it's dangerous to even read the Tanakh, the Torah, without commentary. Because, I don't know why, but this is my guess, is that because then you won't have a guide, you won't know what you're doing. And the ultimate commentary for the Old Testament is, it's the Midrash, it's the Zohar, it's the Talmud, it's other sages' books like the Apple Orchard or something. Mind you, I've read like none of those, except the Zohar. I've read a small amount, and that's the only one I'm really reading for a commentary. I think the reason why they say it's dangerous to read the Old Testament without a commentary is because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know what you're reading. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Because I just heard that today. One of my teachers who gives commentary, he said that it's dangerous to read the Tanakh without commentary. But he didn't explain why, so I have no idea. I didn't ask him why. So, but either way, the commentary helps a lot, because this stuff is way too confusing without people who have already meditated on this and figured all this stuff out. How many people give commentary on the New Testament? Actually, probably a lot. But is it deep commentary? Is it this deep? How deep does it go? How deep is their commentary on the New Testament? How many books are out there? Honestly, there's probably 1 trillion books that give commentary on the New Testament. But it's just different. You'll just have to trust me on this one. It's just a different vibe, different thing. And it's wild. Like I told you. How wild does all this sound? It sounds like a sci-fi book, right? That's what keeps me interested. It sounds like a sci-fi book. How does this make any sense? I don't know, but I like the wildness of it. I like the wildness of it. That's why I like it. I like the lore. It can drive you insane. It drives some Jewish people insane. It drives them insane. Blows your schizophrenia out of proportion. It literally takes you to new realms, to new worlds. I mean, this stuff is powerful. It's more powerful than drugs and sex and any of this stuff in this realm. Yeah. I haven't even felt like drinking or doing any substances like that in a long time, because they're unhealthy for you, and I didn't even think they were that fun, I guess. Or I used to think drinking was fun when I was like 20 or 21 or whatever, but not so much anymore. Now it's just I'm too old for it. Funny, I was talking to my bud online, and I said to him, and he's Jewish, of course. He's kind of the person who got me into all this Jewish stuff. But he's also an alcoholic, and I said, yeah, I don't really like drinking, especially by myself. It's so boring. And he's like, drinking by yourself is the funnest way to drink. So he's a silly boy. So of course that would be Crazy Kev. So interesting. I only have a part-time job. So God should be my full-time job. But I'm not being the greatest employee. So, will I get fired? Am I going to get fired as God's employee? In this realm, we have such little time, and I spend so much of my time being wasteful. My legs and my back and my testicles hurt. Could be diabetes or could be leg testicle cancer. I'll fix my diet after I get diagnosed. Stage 69 cancer of the scrotal ball sac. Yes, I am not working hard enough for the Lord. Does that damn my fate? I should be reading His Word more than how much I'm reading it. A wise man once said, to repent is to talk to God and read His Word. That is how you repent. The word Jesus. The G is short in Freemasonry for God. And the sus is slang in American Zoomer Among Us video game slang for suspicious. Is this the English letters, diction, sentences version of showing us the truth or a false truth that the thought of Jesus being God is suspicious? Jesus. How does no one else in this entire realm come up with such beautifully genius conclusions except for me? Jesus, suspicious of God, of G. Is that why his name is that? Jesus, I don't know. Jesus is also a nice chord in jazz music theory. I was in a jazz band for 6 years. They were talented people. I bet they're up to doing. Some of them were musical geniuses. I'm not kidding. They were true jazz geniuses. But I could never wrap my dick around jazz theory, no matter how hard I tried and studied. It just wouldn't make sense to me, like the way cartoons did. I don't get it. Even after doing jazz for 7 years, I still don't have much of an idea on how it works, or how jazz pianists switch chord progressions so quickly during a song, or how soloing works for that matter. Chords are confusing to me. scales, progressions. G-sus, short for G scale suspended, I think means you suspend or flat the 7th and 9th note of the scale, of the G major scale. Maybe the 3rd note as well, I can't remember. It's been so long since I played any jazz music. My piano skills are questionable. They're good enough to call it a hobby, although I haven't played in a long time. And I've forgotten a lot of songs that I had memorized. Now they've been vaporized and turned into dust in my own head. Forgotten memories of a senile old little boy who used to play piano for the grown-ups. I don't feel like walking in shoes. I hate wearing shoes. I need to get my extra sandals from my mom's house so I can wear sandals at work. You're not allowed to wear sandals at work, but it doesn't matter because everyone at the hotel is asleep at night. So no one will see me in my sandals. I'm supposed to patrol, but I hate walking in shoes. I can't stand wearing socks or shoes. I love barefoot or sandals, and that's all I can think of when it comes to walking with stuff on my feet. The sign of Pisces is the sign of water, easygoing chillness, and their body part, believe it or not, is the feet. And no, I'm not even into romantic foot stuff, if you catch my drift. Actually more into, well, it doesn't matter. But trust me, I'm not into feet. Although, when it comes to my feet, yes, I can't stand wearing shoes or socks, which is a odd fascination that came into my mind around the age of 19 or 21 years old, is when I stopped being able to wear socks and shoes, and when I got other bad habits, such as swishing soda in my mouth, throwing up when brushing my teeth, vomiting in the shower because of the water in my mouth, similar to the brushing teeth thing, not wearing socks or shoes, the painful noise of erasers, markers, colored pencils, and Sharpies on paper, nails on chalkboard, loud noises, and other various things that drive me crazy. Go home. I want to be with God. I don't want to reincarnate. I don't want to go to hell. I don't really want to even be in this realm, in this human body. Some people think that human bodies are the best place to be because demons have no bodies and they wish they had ones. Angels probably wish they had a body too, maybe. And yet, the only people with bodies in this entire universe, in this entire realm, in the physical and spiritual realm, is us, you and me. Maybe this is as good as it gets, that we have a physical form and an individual consciousness, whereas demons and angels are more hive-minded. They are of a hive mind. Their thoughts and subconsciouses merge and meld together because they have no body or physical form to separate their thoughts and personalities from one another. Yet you and I, in our gay, physical, 3D bodies, have matter walls separating you and I's brains, our thoughts, our personalities. So you and I are different. But if we were just souls with no bodies in between us, would we be more the same? I think maybe there's a chance that we would, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been out of my body. But if I didn't know Crazy Kev, and he didn't convert to Judaism and then teach me all this crazy stuff about the Kabbalah, then I wouldn't have been able to teach all of you guys this crazy stuff about the Jewish Kabbalah. And then none of us would even know any of this stuff. But I feel like there's a real renaissance among the Old Testament, among people in this world and in this realm right now, who are getting interested in the Kabbalah and God's mysteries and God's everything in God, and specifically in the Old Testament stuff. Maybe the same thing is happening with Christianity, I don't know, but I feel like people are getting more interested in the Old Testament Jewish stuff for real, like God's word is starting to emerge again among people who aren't even living in Israel, who aren't even born into Jewish families, because this stuff is so interesting, and it gives me something to talk about. I don't even know what I would talk about. This NEET podcast has become way less about NEET stuff and way more about the Old Testament stuff over the last year. Every year is the same in that I'm always single, but every year, maybe this year feels different because I've gotten into all this interesting stuff. Whereas it felt like the last 10 years I was just in a gooner coma. Going to work, coming home, spraying seed 3 to 7 times a day. No, that's too many. 3 to 6 times a day. 3 to 6 times a day or whatever. I was in a zombified goomer coma. I still kind of am sometimes. But not quite as bad as not nearly as bad as I was the last 10 years. What kind of Christian person would you meet at church and think to yourself, oh, this guy's in a gooner coma. He's gonna go home from church and goon 5 times a day, from the age of like 16 to 30, and then he calls himself a Christian, calls himself a spiritual man of God. Well, I don't know about that, but, calling himself a, something. And yet, this person has no self-control. They don't know what they're doing. They're not working. They're going from rehab to rehab. They're getting kicked out of their mom's house because they don't have a job. And their mom likes to kick them out because she wants them to have a job. And what kind of a person? I've just been in a coma for 10 years. Sure, I've been making the podcast and the cartoons during that time. I always try to make sure I'm at least fulfilling some of my purpose in this realm by making the cartoons and the podcast here, because if I'm not even doing that, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing anything. But anyways, it's just how many other boys are out there that are like me, I wonder. I don't really know many other NEET cartoonists. I know 0. And I don't know, it's like he said, we're all different, but we're all the same. We all eat eat, breathe, and sleep and drink. And we piss and stuff like that. You know, we're the same, but we're also very different. But we're also very the same. But we're also very different. Our personalities are different. And our likes and dislikes. You know, I was watching, what was it? I was watching a TV show or something yesterday, or from like, I don't know. It was some old TV show or something. And midway through it, I was thinking, why would anybody watch this show? This is the most pointless, useless show that's ever made. And I would never watch this show in a trillion years because it serves no point. It's not interesting. It has no hook. Compared to modern YouTube videos, which are like concise, interesting, to the point, quick. Old TV shows or whatever are just like, they're a forgotten, useless art that nobody cares for or wants anymore. At least I don't. I don't see the purpose of them even existing now. And I thought I would never ever watch whatever this show is because it just felt so obtuse and disconnected from anything I'd be a part of. And that goes for video games too. I can't even bring myself to play video games now because I just feel so disconnected from them. Like, what is this bringing me? What am I doing with this? Am I having fun playing this game? No, I'm not. I'm not really having fun playing this game. If I'm not having fun playing it, then what am I doing playing it? It makes no sense. It's boring, you know, I don't know. So, I'm a very picky gamer, which is bad because I desperately need other hobbies to distract me from, you know what. So, I mean, that's the thing that never gets old. I don't know why. I wish it did get old, but it just doesn't. I don't know what the appeal is. Compared to anime or games or movies or anything, that particular thing, as evil as it is, it's quite interesting to the eyes, unfortunately. I've been thinking about buying handcuffs just to handcuff my hand to my desk, so that my hand would be handcuffed to my desk, so I wouldn't lose focus in what I'm doing, so that I could be focused on my artwork at my desk instead of other things that hands can do at your desk. So, you know, just I've been trying to think of ideas, other hobbies, crafting, things like that. It's tricky stuff. It's tricky stuff. This realm is tricky. Maybe we're only brought to this realm to learn simple lessons. Self-control. Humility. Generosity. Acceptableness. Kindness. Maybe we're only born just to learn these simple lessons. That's it. And sometimes you gotta be here. Sometimes there's no other way to do it but to be born here and learn this crap. And to fix yourself and fix this crap. Seriously. Yeah. Alright. You know, so people are going to say, well, if you can use the Kabbalah or Talmud for good or evil, then it has evil in it and you shouldn't use it. But, you know, a firearm can be used for good or evil. You can use it to protect someone or to harm someone. You know, it's still a useful tool to learn about. I think to learn about God's mysteries, I think. Yeah. Oh. Now I remember what I was going to say. Speaking of studying Torah correctly, there's a legend, among current, sages, that people, even in our current day and time, can live, can be immortal, can live forever. And you're saying, Jer, how can people do that? This is gonna blow your mind. What did these sages come up with? Well, they said by studying Torah correctly. By studying Torah correctly, people could live forever. And that means, part of that means correctly reading it. Correctly reading the literal translation, which is called the written Torah, and the metaphorical, deeper understanding of Torah, which is called the oral Torah, I think, or the mother Torah. I don't really remember. But see, there's two different kinds. There's the written Torah in Tiferet, the middle Sephiroth in the Kabbalah tree, which is the holy aspect of God. So in Kabbalah, when people say Tiferet, they refer to it as the Holy One, blessed be He, who gave his female wife, the feminine aspect of God, in the Shekinah to humankind, to Israel. God in Tiferet gave his female wife side, his feminine side. I don't know if I would say it's his wife. In the Jewish books, it's referred to, there's an allegory of sharing your bed with someone, like God giving us his bed, or the story is that God gives us his bed, and beds are synonymous with like intimacy and closeness and something like that, because people, they get intimate in their beds, and so it's showing an intimate close relationship with God by the symbol of the bed there. But so that the Tiferet aspect, God gave us the Shekinah, his wife, feminine side, as a token of covenant with mankind. Anyways, this is how people suspect that King David, kind of like the final boss of Jewish people, right? King David, they all love King David. How he was able to live so long, and how people in the past were able to live so long, was that he studied it correctly, and he studied it every single day. You know how hard it is to study something every single day, when I could lay in my bed and not do that, or I could turn on anime, or I haven't really been playing much video games lately, but I've been kind of bored of games lately. I've been playing some multiverses, but that's about it. I haven't been playing Warcraft Rumble lately because I'm bored of it. I haven't been playing, I play a MOBA once in a while, but not very often. I got kind of bored of Warcraft Rumble-ish until they release more updates, maybe. They have a deal on Warcraft Rumble, which is the best deal they've ever had, and I'm not even buying it, because I'm like, what's the point? I'm barely playing the game anyways. So I'm not even going to buy the best deal that they've ever come out with, which it almost seems like they're desperate. They came out with a deal where it's like $5 and you get like 4,300 gold, which is an insane amount of gold. But the trick is you have to log in every day for a month, and you have to pay $5. to get the 4,400 gold. But needless to say, I'm not going to buy it because I don't care. The game's, it needs some work. Multiverses is fun-ish, kind of, but it'd be funner if I had a friend to play it with, I think. If anyone wants to play Multiverses, write in the comments. But King David, and this is what spicy Kabbalah Jewish people do too, is he had a harp over his bed, and exactly at midnight a wind would blow and blow his harp to wake him up, like an alarm clock. And then he would study Torah from midnight until the break of dawn, which I assume was, 5 or 6 a.m., probably like 6 a.m.-ish. And this is what a lot of people do, who are into the Kabbalah. They study from 12 to 6. And like I said in my last podcast, the cool thing about being a nocturnal NEET is that we are rectifying the night. We're rectifying the evil of this world by staying up late and praying and studying this stuff, studying God's word and stuff. You're rectifying the night. You're bringing world peace. You're fixing the nighttime aspect is like the evil. It's kind of like the evil aspect of this world if you think about it, because at nighttime the sun's gone and everything is dark, aka evil. There's no light, right? So when we study this stuff at night and pray to God and think about this stuff at night specifically, we're like, the Torah, I think, says a light, or maybe it's the Zohar, says a light shines down from like heaven onto us, and that light lights up the darkness of the night, and it's because we're doing this that is happening and creating world peace. So that's possibly how figures in the Bible lived forever, or at least 900 years, is through studying this stuff correctly. That's kind of a myth or a legend, if you will. Yeah.
Now it's time to have a snuggle with my very best friend in the whole wide world. You. Well, I'm glad you could come over. See you soon. Bye. And the clown jumped over the moon.